Okay, hello. Let's chat about the different modalities that I tried. So the first one was Craniosacral Therapy and acupuncture. There's a dual therapist. He is actually super fantastic. I will drop a link to his page so you can go check him out, especially if you're in the Seattle area. Definitely empathized and kind of understood some of the symptoms I was experiencing, and he was the first person that validated everything that I was experiencing, as well as knew and had the knowledge to help me begin to heal. He is also fantastic and trained in nutrition. So while I didn't primarily go to him for that, I did learn a lot about how I could care for my brain as far as eating healthy fats and taking a probiotic and prebiotic, kind of helping the flow of toxins and releasing toxins. He also encouraged me to slow down my running and other types of pounding that could aggravate my head. He was a fantastic source for any questions that I had on how I was living my life and what I should prevent and do or incorporate. Anyway, so craniosacral therapy, I took level 1, so it was something that I knew I was interested in pursuing, especially when it comes to head trauma. And for me, I knew I wanted a diplomat, so I wanted somebody that was an expert well beyond level 1, like little old me, and I found him. So he turned out to be super fantastic. I highly recommend anybody go the craniosacral route for a small bump on the head to something much more traumatic and everything in between. It is a super fantastic modality, but basically it is a subtle touch that allows and encourages the body to heal itself. He started off really, really slow. There is obviously a lot of trauma and tension in my head and my neck. And he slowly began to unwind that and allow the body to help heal. He also checked the glia cells, which is in your head, and they drain at night to help your body, your brain release its own toxins built up throughout the day. And he made sure that those were working and would release at night while I was sleeping. Long story short, craniosacral is highly recommended, and it's one modality that I checked out almost immediately after my injury. So I got injured in the beginning of July, and I was able to get into craniosacral therapy in August. Another modality that I tried immediately after my injury was lymphatic drainage. I spoke to it a few different videos, but basically I was looking to help drain the inflammation and helping heal my overwhelmed lymph system through lymphatic drainage, mainly in my face. I almost southern tick-like appearance right after my injury. I was really swollen. It's pretty crazy to see the before and after. But anyways, I went to lymphatic drainage. I only did it 3 times maybe because of the expense, but also I knew that there are other things that I should be doing and prioritizing my time, and rather than driving all over the area to go to all these different appointments, I had to narrow down my scope and find somebody who was a little bit more familiar with a case like mine, or at least understanding of my injury itself. While the massage was great to relax, didn't really fit what I needed personally for my brain injury. But I highly recommend anybody experience lymphatic drainage just for the true nature of post-surgery or radiation, chemotherapy, or anything where you're really holding on, or if you have lymphedema. I tried that modality, and while it was nice and relaxing, it obviously did not heal the pain. Another modality that I tried to help with my healing was Hyperbaric Oxygen Therapy, or HBOT. So HBOT is high pressure, like diving, and also you have a cannula to get 100% oxygen. And that basically encourages reduced inflammation, reduced pain. It helps heal. It improves the oxygen that the cells are taking on, which can help heal, remove toxins. I tried it a handful of times, and I don't think I was ready for it immediately after my injury. I was in too much pain. I was very sensitive. I was only doing 30-minute dives instead of the recommended hour, and I could not build past that. So we decided to take a break. But good news is we're diving back in, pun intended, and we are going to do about 40 sessions straight. So stay tuned for news on that. But I just had my first day and my head is really painful, but that is to be expected. Pain can increase as you're healing. So I'm not going to give up just yet. I'm going to do my 40 and I will report back. So stay tuned for those updates. But for now, I will see you next time. Hi, I wanted to give you my review of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So as you saw in that last video, I was super excited about trying it because HBOT, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, boosts oxygen to cells. So naturally you would conclude that that boost of oxygen can help the cells heal and repair. And while that is 100% true, in my case, and as I've learned more, I don't specifically fit that narrative. So one reason I decided to stop was because my 18th session out of the 40 that I hoped, I actually experienced barotrauma, which is a pressure tissue injury in my left ear. It was extremely sharp, extremely painful, and within 5 minutes of starting the session, we were done. Second reason is my neuro PT actually advised against it, and so the second she heard that I had an ear injury, she advised me to stop completely. And upon doing more research, I figured out why my neuro PT wasn't a fan of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. That is because, yes, trauma can disrupt oxygen and the flow of oxygen to that damaged tissue. However, brain injuries are all different. And what I've recently read on Cognitive FX is that the brain actually uses oxygen differently throughout different areas of the brain, and that variability may not allow the oxygen during your therapy session to get to the side of your brain that's injured. Also, not all brain injuries equal damage in tissues. And also, they say that in their studies, they haven't seen any improvements for those folks who have a mild TBI or post-concussive syndrome. And with that, that is why hyperbaric oxygen therapy did not work for me. I absolutely love the facility I went to. The staff is fantastic. The people are great. And it's a really cool therapy. Unfortunately for me and my type of brain injury and what happened, it did not benefit me. So I still am a big fan of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. There's tons of studies and improvements in other areas of your life that it may help. Definitely check it out. Just for my specific case and what I'm reading about the folks that have suffered from a mild TBI and post-concussive syndrome, it just doesn't work. And that's okay. So I'm on to the next chapter of my healing. Another self-healing modality that we explored was the Amen Clinic. They ended up doing a SPECT image and a cognitive test to see brain function. SPECT provides a 3D image of how a biological process functions in a patient. A gamma-emitting radio tracer is first injected into the bloodstream of the patient. A SPECT test creates a detailed 3D map of the blood flow activity in the brain, which can help see which parts of the brain are being affected. Brain function, and then after that I went on various supplements for about 9 months now, and I had random check-ins and different blood tests to make sure everything were at a decent level, and basically that was it. So unfortunately, other than probably encouraging neuron growth with the supplements and also giving me an image that proved I had an injury on the left side, exactly where the TMS device was placed, which was extremely important to have some validation. I am not sure we gained anything else from the Amen Clinic. I do highly recommend, if you are lost in the sauce and need help and answers to figure out what's going on in a brain and other images aren't showing anything, I would highly recommend the Amen Clinic for specifically that. That was truly eye-opening and really helped when or didn't know nor have answers, gave us some sort of clue as to what happened. Aside from the SPECT image, I was overall unsatisfied with my care at the Amen Clinic. While I think their medicine and use of the SPECT image is unlike any other, I recently learned that my provider wrote a book on concussions and feel that my case was truly misunderstood and misdiagnosed. Additionally, Dr. Amen believes that mental health disorders should be considered physical brain disorders and treated accordingly, and the protocol is strictly supplement-based. While this may help some, for my brain injury case, I have experienced functional changes in my brain, nervous system, visual, and vestibular that supplements alone cannot properly help. The brain heals super slow, so I'm only hopeful that it will continue to improve. To continue on to the different modalities that I tried, try physical therapy. And I saw and was given a few assessments by 2 different physical therapists. Then I saw a 3rd physical therapist who didn't do an assessment on me. And then I finally saw a 4th physical therapist who basically diagnosed my symptoms as post-concussive, and that was in May of this year. So it took about 11 months to find that, and I'm super thankful. So she has given me a few exercises to do to help my jaw. I had extreme, and still do, not as extreme, luckily, neck instability that she's been helping with, as well as just some tightness around the suture lines in my head. And we've mainly been working on that, but she has seen some cognitive difficulties with some of the testing she's done, some balance. She still sees some pupillary reactivity and some convergence and accommodation issues that I was working on with my neuro-optometrist. So those still exist, but the severity of which they are is not as bad, which is good. Anyways, I highly recommend a physical therapist with, most importantly, a neuro background for those of you that are struggling with a TBI, a concussion, post-concussive syndrome, or anything like that. All in all, I highly recommend seeking out a neurophysical therapist for those of you that are struggling with a TBI, a concussion, post-concussive syndrome, or anything like that, because they can truly help assess what your symptoms are showing up as. If there's any muscle weakness or instability issues while you're working on speech and cognitive and other areas, the PT will really be able to hone in head trauma, concussions, even if it's not sports or accident related. Somebody who has that knowledge will be able to see the symptoms and how they correlate. Like me, I didn't get injured in an auto accident or sports related, but all of my symptoms are very closely correlated to those types of injuries. And even beyond my knowledge, I know that for the 4 weeks that I have seen my physical therapist have made a ton of improvements. So my next video, I'm going to show you guys a couple of the exercises that the PT helps me with. I'm working on jaw exercises, neck instability exercises, and kind of making sure that my eyes and neck track together and bringing that back into harmony and balance. So it's a lot of work. I get super fatigued, and I will keep dropping some ideas to help you heal. Thank you so much. Bye.